I'm at the National Association of School Resource Officer Conference. They're doing a co-branded event with the Florida Association of School Resource Officers. And I've got Pam Revels here. Pam is the president of the entire National Association of School Resource Officers.
We're one of the largest school resource organizations in the world.
Okay.
We train in all our states.
And you and I were just talking, we have a cell phone ban here in Florida. I'm a big proponent of that. And Pam, you're also the president of the Alabama School Resource Officer Association. And I know in Alabama, you have a cell phone ban there as well. So can you talk to us about what is your opinion about the cell phone ban? What are you seeing in schools? Because you're an SRO right now, right?
Yes, sir.
And what school are you an SRO at?
I work for the Lee County Sheriff's Office in Alabama.
And what are you seeing? How's the effect of the cell phone ban? I guess, why did Alabama do it in the first place?
Well, I think over the years, we've seen a trend of what the cell phone is sort of taking away from our young people in their education. It's this distraction, social media, what's going, the likes and things like that. And so seeing the trend of the distraction, number one, was very important to kind of look at education and where it's going,
Okay.
as well as the other things that come along with that. So harassment, threats, things like that.
Okay.
So to kind of mitigate the distraction and possible threats, then they said, hey, what if we were to say, let's put them away and let's concentrate on what we're doing? And that is learning and becoming better citizens.
How is it going, the effects of the cell phone ban, especially in schools?
I think every educator I talk to, an SRO, they are, it's doing what it was intended to do. And that is to bring us back to where we once were. And that is having those one-on-one conversations during the day, text,
Right.
being able to focus on the teacher and the lessons so they're actually retaining that material.
Okay.
So I think the results are going in the trend that they wanted to.
Okay. What is your advice for parents with cell phones? How old should a kid be to get a cell phone? What are you doing in your own family? You talked a little bit about that.
Right. Well, over the years being an SRO, I've been doing this since 2004. I've seen what the cell phone does, not only to the young person, but also to the school environment. And so when my daughter became age of, can I have that cell phone? It was very scary. So there was some things that we talked about as a family, thought about her as a young person and where she is in life and the adolescent brain and what that cell phone can do.
Right.
And we took the approach of, as parents, we always think about physical safety. As we're walking through a parking lot when they're very young, you're going to grab their hand and say, walk with me. Make sure they don't get hurt.
Yes.
And then as they get older, you kind of release that, but you're still saying, hey, stop right here. Make sure you're looking both ways. Physical safety, we got that. It's the digital safety that we're missing a little bit.
Yes, 100%. We're just giving kids, their friends are getting cell phones, and all of my friends have cell phones. It's that peer pressure. I want a cell phone, mommy and daddy.
Right.
And then we get them a cell phone.
That's right. And even at 15, if you can get your permit, but we don't let you drive.
Right.
Until you've had a year of experience.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the most dangerous things that you can do.
Yeah.
But most parents don't realize that the cell phone is even more dangerous than that car.
Wow.
Because
I don't think realize that.
Yes.
How dangerous your cell phone is. The cell phone is in the hands of a teenage girl or
boy and doing things. And so we need time to train them. And so as a parent, and what we did, the approach was, let's teach digital safety. Let's hold the hand and then release a little bit until we get to where we think that they're safe to actually have that component. So there's a lot of monitoring systems that we personally have, where you can only call the people that we say you can call. You can only text the people that we say you can text. You can't get on the internet.
So your daughter's cell phone does not have the capability of getting on the internet?
Correct. So it does have wireless, but then there's other ways that can pick that up. So there's ways that you can back different things. But yes, it's to reduce that opportunity to harm themselves through social media, dark web, and some of the things that's happening on the internet.
And what should parents be aware of? What are you seeing? What's on the internet? Because, when I when Alex was, 14, I really didn't know what he was looking at online. What is happening now today in today's world?
Well, first off, our young people, they're not respecting their bodies as much as some of us older folks. And they tend to send pictures of themselves in what I like to call their birthday suit. And once that gets out on the internet, it's there forever. And once you send it to one person, it can be disseminated to many. So that's one thing that we see. It's just what's labeled child pornography. Even if you take a picture of yourself and you send it, it's still child pornography. And many states have felonies attached to that. So you could be 13, 15, send a picture of yourself in the nude. It gets sent to someone. They can disseminate it, okay? And then the parents can say, well, we want to charge them. Well, if we charge them, we have to charge the person who
sent it. Wow. You take a picture, if your child takes a picture of themselves naked and sends it, they can be charged with it.
That's correct.
Holy cow.
If you charge the other people.
Okay.
So what that's done is there's not a lot of people that go down that road. So that picture's just out there. And it can be resent years later. So that's just one piece. There's the dark web. There's just pornography in general. We have very young people who are young kids that are already addicted to pornography.
How old are we talking?
Down to fourth grade, third grade. Anybody that can, have that phone. We're talking about young boys who are addicted now. And then not just regular pornography. We're talking about it could be hardcore pornography. And what does that do? That changes their perspective of relationships, how relationships are supposed to be had, how sex is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So that just really dilutes how they're supposed to be living. And it's an addiction.
Yeah.
So when they're supposed to be thinking about math or going to band or playing football in the back of their head. So that's another piece of
how they're interacting with other girls and kids and everything and how the words that come out of their mouth.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So you're talking, there's the gamut of things that can happen. And then just the things that you are seeing now where if a young person is looking for something, they're looking for a connection that they may not be getting somewhere else, they're going to find it. And that could be with a group that doesn't tell them right and then causes them to act in a bad behavior. And so these are all things that, some of our parents be aware of.
Yeah.
And then there's the component of AI. Our young people are creating things using other people, and that can not only hurt that person, but it can end up hurting them.
What do you tell? And when you told your daughter you're not getting a cell phone until you're 13, why did you end up giving her the cell phone? What was the reason, and how did she take all of that?
So she's in 8th grade, and in 7th grade, you can start your middle school athletic career, basically. You make the team. Well, in 8th grade, she started traveling a little bit more. She started showing more responsibility, and with responsibility comes trust.
Right.
The more trust that she builds, the more that we can allow. And that's how we do it. That's the cycle that we try to stay on. So as she has built our trust and her responsibility, then we've done certain things. And one of them was a cell phone. You get good grades, you do what you're supposed to be doing, and then we'll go. And then she goes to gymnastics, she's doing basketball. There's times that she needs to call us.
Right. Okay.
And say, hey, we got out of practice early, or we're going to be late. So we know that we can.
That's why you decided to get her the cell phone.
That's correct.
At 13.
But when you add the component of practices and some of the moving around we were doing at this point, she needed that.
Okay.
We needed her to have that for us. But it's very restrictive. Like I said, you can, who does she text? Who does she call? All that we control.
And there's no access to the internet. Does she have social media accounts?
No. Wow. No social media accounts.
Okay.
Again, that's got to be a learned behavior, and you have to be taught how to use that.
What are you seeing with young kids as being an SRO for over 20 years? What are you seeing on social media and how kids are interacting with that and how it affects them, how it affects their friends and the school environment?
Well, just how people interact. We all joke about we'll text each other and we're sitting next to each other.
Yeah, right.
So that's just that interconnection, personal touch.
It's gone.
It's correct.
Yeah.
And then you add some of this other stuff where it's harassment. You can have some folks that put together a group chat, add you in, and then they can start berating you. So what does that do? That reduces yourself, who you are. So, our poor children, our young people, the suicide ideations and suicide rates you've seen over the last several years have skyrocketed. Some of that is because of how they're feeling and some of the stuff that is happening online.
I didn't even know that was a thing happening in schools where kids are just adding other kids, and then they're really saying terrible things to them. And your daughter's cell phone, she's not able to be added because you can't.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
You block that ability.
That's correct. And then even with AI, I can make a video, I can make a picture that depicts a young person up here, maybe in a negative light, and then I can send it to somebody and they can distribute it. And it's all AI. And when you look at it, you don't go, that's AI. You're like, oh my goodness, look what so-and-so did.
Yeah, totally.
So you have to go back and like deflate that narrative, and it's very hard once it's out there.
And her phone probably can't send pictures.
Well, text messages, things like that.
Okay.
But again, every night we get it. We do a safety check. And so we'll
safety check. What
yes.
does that
So
do?
I'll go in, I'll check her photos, I'll check her trash, I'll check her history of anything that she's done. And there's a new feature on your phones where you can actually go in and download, the activity. It's called an activity. Yes.
Activity log.
So you can actually go in and download that, and you can see. Like I can go in and see if she's even tried to go on the internet, YouTube, things like that, because it'll tell me she tried to go to that site, but she was blocked, so she didn't get in.
Wow.
Yes.
And so, and what happens at night? What's the process?
Very good. And that's one of those things where...
Because I was told that kids should not be having their phones in bed with them. Only terrible things are happening at night. They can be targeted. You've got predators. You've got kids that are going online and in Roblox or in Minecraft.
Yes.
And then you've got terrible people, sexual predators that are trying to target these kids and really do terrible things to them.
That's right, which is another component that, we hadn't even talked about yet, but it's one of those things where she comes in the afternoon, we're doing our routine, she puts the phone on the counter, 'cause she really can't do anything with it, and then at night goes in the bedroom, our bedroom, plugs up for the next day, because it's our ability to get in touch with her.
It's your cell phone.
It's my cell phone.
You're paying the
My
bill.
cell phone.
You're in charge.
That's correct.
And that's a thing, like parents give their kids a cell phone and they don't have any privacy. It's my cell phone. I pay the bill and I want to see what's happening.
And this may sound really, really, really tough to some people, but she did get a text one day and it said something like, ooh, so-and-so is so cute. I think I want to marry them. She wrote back to that person because it's very limited. She goes, be careful. My mom's going to do a safety check. So
you tell them you're doing a safety check every day. I like that.
So she's using her friends now. That's just how we work.
Wow.
But it's unfortunate for her. I've seen some of the things I've seen in the school. I don't want that to be her.
Absolutely.
It only takes one threat, one push of a button in your birthday suit. It only takes one download to destroy your life. Just like you're driving down the road and you look at your cell phone or you change the radio station and you pull that wheel too fast and it makes you crash. We practice that and we don't train them.
I mean, I just remember, when Morgan, my daughter, got her permit, her temporary permit, the learner's permit in Florida. I mean, it was a long process to teach her to drive, and she was nervous, and we went on the road constantly. And, we give people, it's a whole year process. And I never thought of it where that analogy to cell phones, we just give kids cell phones and say, here, go have fun.
Well, and the difference is how we use them.
Yeah.
If we're using them appropriately as adults, we're going in, we're using YouTube to put in a radio in our car or just to play some mind games, some good spelling games. If we're using it appropriately and we hand it to them, that's kind of what we think they're doing.
Yeah, right. Our mind doesn't go there to think that
they have a
bad
peer
shit.
circle that and them all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And so unless we show them and train them that that's not the right way, that this is the right way.
Yeah.
Then they can fall into that. And once you fall into that, then like you said, the peer pressure and all this stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.